Welcome to Wonder Fungi. So let's just jump right in with a question that sounds, well, kind of impossible. Can you actually measure a spiritual experience? I mean, can you take one of the most profound, deeply personal moments a person can have and just slap a number on it? It sounds like something straight out of sci-fi, right? But believe it or not, some of the top researchers at Johns Hopkins University are saying, yeah, we can. In fact, they've built a scientifically validated tool designed to do just that. And that tool is called the Mystical Experience Questionnaire, or the MEQ for short. This thing is a huge piece of the puzzle in the modern psychedelic renaissance. Its whole purpose is pretty audacious when you think about it. It's designed to turn what feels like magic into cold, hard data. Okay, so here it is, the MEQ30. It's basically a 30-question survey, but it's super specific. It's designed to quantify a single mystical event. You know, the kind of thing that might happen during a psilocybin session. And that's key. This isn't about your general beliefs or your life story. It's about what happened in that one moment. The fancy term for it is a psychometric instrument. Now, that just means it's a tool for measuring the mind. Think of it like this. Just like an IQ test tries to measure intelligence, the MEQ30 is built to measure the different parts of a mystical state. It takes this experience that feels totally indescribable and breaks it down into something you can actually measure. So, how on earth does it do that? Well, here's how they cracked it. The researchers broke down this incredibly profound state into 4 core measurable factors. You can almost think of it as the scientific blueprint for a mystical experience. The first big one is the mystical factor itself. And this really gets at that core feeling of unity. You know, the dissolution of the ego, where the boundary between you and the rest of the universe just melts away. But to measure this, the questionnaire is smart. It doesn't ask something vague like, did you see God? Nope, it asks you to rate your experience of unity with ultimate reality. See how that's different? It's specific, it's focused, and you can put a number on it. Okay, second factor, positive mood. And we're not just talking about feeling kind of happy here. This is about those overwhelming feelings of peace, pure joy, and just awe. So the questionnaire will get at this by having people rate, for example, their feelings of peace and tranquility. It sounds like a simple question, right? But it's getting at a really powerful emotional state. Factor number 3 is transcendence of time and space. Now, this is where the normal rulebook of reality just gets tossed out the window. People talk about feeling like they've stepped into eternity, where past, present, and future all just kind of merge into one. To capture this, the questionnaire asks you directly about the loss of your usual sense of time. It's a really direct way of asking about a fundamental shift in how we perceive reality itself. And the final factor is my favorite because it's a total paradox. It's called ineffability. That's the feeling that the experience is just too profound, too big to ever be captured by words. So, how do you measure something that's literally beyond words? I love this. The scientific solution is just to ask directly. You literally rate your sense that the experience cannot be described adequately in word. It's kind of a perfect, almost poetic way to get a data point, isn't it? Okay, so we've got the 4 factors: unity, positive mood, transcendence, and ineffability. But how do researchers draw the line between just an interesting experience and what they call a truly mystical one? Well, they use a very specific number. And that number is 60%. Now, this isn't just some number they pulled out of a hat. In this field of research, it's pretty much the statistical gold standard. So here's the deal. To be classified as having had a complete mystical experience, a person has to score at least 60% of the maximum possible score on every single one of those 4 factors. You have to hit that mark on unity, and on positive mood, and on transcendence, and on ineffability. It's a really high bar. And that's what seems to separate a merely profound trip from a genuinely life-changing, clinically significant one. And this, right here, is why that 60% number matters so much. Because the data coming out of Johns Hopkins and other top institutions is showing something absolutely revolutionary. It seems like the mystical experience itself is the actual mechanism of healing. The mystical part is the medicine. Let's take a look at a real-world example. In a huge Johns Hopkins study on smoking cessation, the success rate for standard therapies was, less than 35%. But in their psilocybin-assisted therapy study, the rate of people who were still not smoking after 6 months was a staggering 80%. Just look at that difference. But here's the real kicker.
the people who actually managed to quit for good, it wasn't necessarily the folks who just had the most intense visuals or drug effects. No. The people who succeeded were the ones who scored highest on the Mystical Experience Questionnaire. It was the quality and the depth of their inner journey, the fact that they crossed that 60% threshold that predicted if they could break a lifelong addiction. And we're not talking about some fleeting high either. The power of these moments sticks around. In follow-up studies more than a year later, over 2/3 of the participants still ranked their psilocybin experience as one of the top 5 most meaningful and spiritually significant events of their entire lives. We're talking right up there with the birth of a child or the death of a parent. Which brings us right back to that huge question we started with. We now have a tool that can apparently measure a sacred, mystical experience and predict these incredible, life-altering outcomes. So if meaning itself can be measured, what does that mean for the future of medicine, for mental health, for our basic understanding of what consciousness even is? The implications are just massive. Don't just chase the visuals, chase the meaning. Please like and subscribe to Wonder Fungi for more science.